So right now we're just number 2 tip. We're taking out the screws to expose this so we can get to the bolts that are holding this on. Okay, so we got the Freon all drained out of the units for the ACs. So now we are down here. You had to get those. You're gonna have to come down here too, dear. So you had 2 hoses here, one going in, one going out that you had to remove. I just used a crescent wrench to remove those. And now you have 6 bolts. They're through the floor, coming down through the AC, and those ones, it's just a 14mm socket. So we're going to go ahead and get those off and then drop this down, get it out of our way. We also have electrical here that we will have to deal with once we get this loose. Okay, so we got one of the condensing units out, or the fans. We're just cutting off the wires, got it dropped down. Basically, again, you're gonna have 2 hoses that just use a crescent wrench to undo, and then you're gonna have 4 wires coming out of it that you will run up to the electrical. So right now we just cut them. And then we'll trace them all the way back to the electrical box and get them out of the way. There was one little nut that was grounded to the chassis, so we removed that. And again, just crescent wrench and 14mm socket on an impact is going to be your best way. So now off to the next one. Okay, so we got both of the condenser units off on each side, got the hoses disconnected, got the electrical cut. So now what we're gonna do is basically trace all these back to the where they connect, so we can get rid of these. And we're also gonna trace all the hoses as well, get them out of here. As you can see, all of these wires are kind of in these little grooves, so I'm going to try my best to just kind of keep feeding them and pushing them through so I don't have to remove these. I really don't want to remove these if I don't have to. So we're going to do that and continue on about our day. Whew. so we pulled out all the hoses that run to the front two ACs, to the condensing units underneath. We pulled them out through the back, and they basically are going to run to your two compressors here. So you just got to undo it from the back and then pull these compressors off, and then pull this belt off, because you will not need that one at all. We still got to pull the lines from the rear AC down, but this is at least the majority of them. So all goes bye-bye. Good morning, everybody. So as Louise said, we had a friend bring us over a bus, Corinne Garcia from Texas. So she just bought this beautiful 2003 Thomas built bus. Has a Mercedes diesel engine in it, Allison transmission. So what we did first is we decided to get all the AC units out and all the wiring. So I know it's been really hard. Some people have issues with finding out information on how to remove these. So I'll do my best to try to give you guys kind of just how I did it and the steps that I took. So basically, you see this big old pile behind me. This is majority of what came out for just the AC units and everything that details it. So basically, we started with the evaporators inside. What we did, we went inside, we took off all the housing. We had one up front, one in the middle, and then a big one at the back of the bus. Took off all the housing, which is basically just a number 2 Phillips head. Took all that out, got it out of the way. Next, what we did, we got a friend out here to drain the Freon out of the condenser units outside. So it's very toxic to the environment, so you don't really want to let that just kind of go everywhere. So best just to call a friend who is an AC guy or something like that, and he can come out and do it for you. But basically what you're going to have underneath the bus somewhere is 2 big condensing units. We had one on each side. It was 5 bolts holding it up. Real easy. Just take a ratchet, unscrew them. You obviously are going to have electrical going into each one. So basically 4 wires going into each unit. Okay, so pretty easy there. Once you know that you got them drained, clip the wires, and then I didn't even take the time. I just cut the hoses with a cut wheel on a grinder to get them out of my way. So drop those down. After that, next thing I did was go inside the bus, and again, basically you're going to have 2 or 3 units, evaporator units inside of your school bus. So what you're going to need to do is you'll have them mounted up here okay? And then behind comes all the hoses. So one, you'll probably have to just drill out some rivets that hold this to cover up all the lines. You're gonna have basically a drain hose and then an in and out hose for the Freon running in, and then electrical conduit going up to it. So basically, again, clipped all the wires, cut all the hoses there. I cut the end at the end, so that way you didn't have to worry about trying to pull them through the bus, because if you leave the little ends on and just take it off with a crushing wrench, you're gonna be trying to drag that through underneath your bus, which was just gonna make it even more difficult, if you can even do it. Dropped that one, had one in the middle, right there. Again, same thing, clip the wires. You had basically all the cords running up through the wall there. So did that same exact principle. And then back here, I haven't dropped this unit yet just because it's pretty heavy. So I'll wait for my wife to get home and help me do this. But again, I went through, clipped off all the wires, okay, disconnected them. You'll have on the back unit, there'll be 3 or 4 different places that you actually have wiring that's been split in to power because of all the different fans in here. So just pull those off, cut them, and then you end up, basically this is your power going into the, right here. So I just cut them all, drop them, make sure you cut them nice and clean, because you are gonna have power that comes from your bus itself. So just make sure you cut them nice and clean, so you don't have any sparks or anything like that. Basically, had to pull off the back, get everything dropped down through the back of the bus. Okay, so all that's pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy, I think. Just takes a little bit of work, and plan on getting really, really dirty. So after that, you come into the rear of the bus. Okay. So in the back of the bus, we basically had all the wires coming down here from the upper unit. And then everything else from the other 2 units fed through underneath the bus. You got to pull everything back, all right? And then basically, somewhere on your engine, on this one you had 2 compressor units to help power the AC. So you have one here, and you have another one down underneath. I've got the bottom one off. I left this one on just to kind of show you what it looks like. Kind of looks like a little baby alternator. And what you'll see is you have a second pulley here that's extended, so that way it runs the belt when your engine charges, okay? You'll have on the back of these compressors, you'll have the other end of the hoses that you have to undo, and you'll have a hot wire and a ground wire to each one. So yeah, just unbolt them, pull them out, get them out of your way. The hoses, then you'll be able to, once those are off, you'll be able to pull the hoses through. And then you're also going to have 2 accumulator units. I would assume one on each side like we did, that the hoses will go up into as well, and then go out to the compressor unit. So make sure that you get those off, and then again, all your wiring, and then basically you drop all your wiring, pull it out, and again, you're going to end up with this hot mess here, okay? This is the other compressor unit. You can see where the hoses basically go in, connect it, okay? So, and then there's your ground and hot. Also in the back of the bus, you're gonna have your boards with all your relays on it. Basically, this is what runs and controls your AC unit. So you have that, and once you get all the wires, you're gonna have to clip that so you can pull them down through the back of the bus. And then what you end up with is a big strand like that. Okay, this is everything that comes from my fuse panel at the front of the bus, runs back, ties into the electrical, and runs all that. So you're going to want to make sure that you label all these as you go. So I got them now pulled out. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to cut them, label them what they are. And I know that I have a couple control switches inside for the AC that I'm going to trace these to, get those out of there, pull the wires out. Obviously you have some hots here, which I personally would want to leave, just so that way you could power a light bar or something else. So just make sure you take care of it properly so you don't have a fire hazard or anything like that. But it's always nice to have a couple extra hot wires when you're doing these bus builds, so that way you can run other things. So just you have that. So that's what you have. Basically all I used was a grinder with a cut wheel on it, impact with a number 2 Phillips, I believe a number 10 socket, and I think for on the compressors I used a 16. So basic tools that you'll need. You'll have some clips probably underneath the bus that hold everything together. You can just go ahead and pull those all off. Try not to destroy them, because if you run anything else underneath the bus, they're really nice clips just to try to keep everything together, whether it's going to be your plumbing lines, new electrical lines, whatever you're going to put there. So pretty simple. This was a carrier unit. I'm not really sure what other brands that are used, but they're pretty much all going to be similar to how they work. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, if you did, please hit like, share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel. It helps us out a lot.